Action the storm.
Action the storm.
What up? What up? What up? Here we go again.
No, we on the road.
We on the road right now.
We are literally on the road. First of all, before we continue this show, right? Take that sticker off under the bottom of your hat. You're too old to have that sticker. Man.
Ty wants me to take the sticker off.
Just saw that. That caught me off guard.
I will take the sticker off.
Thank you.
Well, I want to get started by first saying thank you for Starter for allowing this to happen. Just a quick, nice little partnership with Starter for this lovely event.
It's a start to a relationship.
It Starter's big for us right now, and I'm very, very pleased about it. But as we always do, I would like to definitely introduce my co-host, my partner in crime, the legendary Fly Ty.
I mean, being a legend is subjective at this point. Everybody a legend, right? But the beautiful thing about tonight is that, for me personally, one of the legendary figures of my life growing up, we finally got him. We finally came to him,
Right.
as we rightfully deserve to,
Right.
right? And we about to hear the truth about the truth.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, baby.
So I want to introduce him properly. So
Let me see if you remember everything.
So all right. So this guy's a New York City legend, New York City basketball legend, PSAL high school varsity champion, St. John's 1986 Big East champion, St. John's Final Four, helped led his team to the Final Four, 1985 Final Four, John Wooden Award winner, 1987, first round draft pick, number 14 pick in the NBA to San Antonio Spurs, overseas international basketball legend, Greece, Italy, Hall of Fame in Greece. I mean, all the accolades. Well, you was a destroyer of worlds. I would like to introduce one of St. John's, one of the only two Wooden Award winners at St. John's University, the legendary, the great, the monumental, Mr. Walter Berry. Yeah.
Listen. I know we excited, right? But Walt is probably the only person we will ever have on this show with shades on. All right. So let's acknowledge the look, right? Walt, one of my first times on St. John's campus. I'm remembering everything right now, right? Because I don't prepare, but I remember. One of my first visits to St. John's. I signed with St. John's in April. This is a wild story.
Okay.
You know how summer basketball used to have pickup basketball,
Yep.
in the little gym, right? So they told me, Rutledge told me to go downstairs, watch the guys play, because you're coming to St. John's. This is the summer before I came to St. John's. You pulled up in a drop top red Mercedes Benz, and I did not know who you were, but I thought I just saw somebody walking on water. You walked down the hill and you came into the little gym and just went, you barely stretched and just went right in the bus in Jason Williams' ass. I remember it like it's yesterday. And that was my introduction to Walter Berry. Walt, happy to have you here, big bro.
Well, I like to just say thank you guys for having me. You guys were guys that played at St. John's, y'all alumni, and y'all doing a great job with what y'all doing. And I wanted to come support you guys.
Thank you.
That's why I'm here. Y'all came to Georgia, my hometown.
Now
I'm officially a New York, gonna always be from New York. And this is home now, but guess what? I got love for New York and always will have love for New York.
No doubt. Well, I want to just tell a little story. Starter was big back in the days in the 80s. I wanted to initially, Virginia was my school before I got wind of St. John's and Louis in the Final Four. My mother bought me a starter jacket, a Virginia starter jacket. It was like $100. That was probably like a third of her salary. And I was nagging about it. She bought me the jacket.
Thank you, Mom.
And I was at the bus stop and I got robbed for my jacket.
Wow.
And that was it.
In Harlem.
So, but I still, In Harlem, right in Harlem.
That's
So
your story about starter
that was my, and I never had another starter jacket since.
until now.
Yeah, this is my
Look,
first time.
them starter jackets was big in the day around that time. I just couldn't afford one.
Yeah. My mother, she sacrificed everything.
So hold on, let me get this straight. So Walt, you couldn't afford one because you wasn't playing basketball yet?
Yeah, I wasn't playing basketball.
Oh, okay.
Well, they was expensive, Ty.
Right,
It
right.
was expensive
I'm just trying to.
nowadays.
I'm just trying to get the time frame right because I know when Walt started picking up that basketball, he could afford
Oh
everything.
yeah. So this is before. This is before.
That ain't start till late.
So this is before Jordans. This is before everything got crazy. Starter was like a leading brand at that time.
I remember.
And I had that jacket, but then I didn't have it no more.
Right.
So one
Big-
trip to the bus stop.
They bullied the big guy.
They bullied the big
Poor
guy.
guy.
Man.
Father, we gotta pray for him.
So let's get this started. So this was I'm gonna set Ty up, but I'll let you. Let's talk about Summit Avenue, Nelson Park.
Oh my God, man.
High Bridge, Bronx, New York.
Them was the days.
Beginning.
It was survival for us, man. And basketball kept us out of trouble. Summit Avenue, we was always at hybrid playing, and that kept us out of trouble with just where we would get into a whole lot of nonsense.
So this is during prime crack era days.
A little before.
So this heroin.
Before.
Yeah.
I'm dating it by the drugs. Pardon.
I don't do drugs, so I don't know what era, but guess what? It was drug era at that time.
Right. High Bridge.
So
High Bridge.
So Summit Ave, Nelson Park. So is this where because I first saw you, I was 10 years old when I saw you. I think it was King Towers. We was talking about it earlier, but probably a little bit before that, I'm assuming that you had to learn how to play somebody. What was the influence of you for?
I just played every day. I just loved to play, and it kept me out of trouble because all my friends was going robbing, stealing, and I didn't want to be a part of that. So I stayed on a basketball court and just played all day till night. I would go late at night and just be the only one in the park shooting. So I think that's where I developed a lot of my skills from.
Just playing, just naturally
Just
playing.
naturally playing.
So when did it turn from just naturally playing into realizing you had a real talent for the game?
Benjamin Franklin High School.
Oh, so it took it till you got to high school.
Till I got to high school, and I played with a couple of guys, Derek Robinson, Kenny Hutchison.
Oh, you played with Hutch?
Yeah, I played with Hutch.
I know that.
Yep.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that brung me to Benjamin Franklin, believe it or not. He showed up on Summit Avenue and was like with the coach.
Never knew that.
And I was going to Morris High School at the time. And I asked the coach for Morris, hey, why you don't put me on a team? He told me I wasn't good enough.
So you went to Morris High School first?
DeWitt Clinton first. Played on a junior varsity and got transferred out of DeWitt Clinton to Morris because we moved. So you got to go in your district.
Your zone school, yeah.
Right. So I go to Morris. I wanted to play on that team bad. He didn't let me play. The next year, I signed with, they came and got me. Kenny Hutch and Stan Dinner came and got me at my house.
Great Stan Dinner.
Came and got me. And I transferred. We was in the transfer office at Morris. The coach came in the transfer room and said, I'm not letting you go because I had balled out all summer long that summer. That's the King Tower years. And he was like, I'm not going to let you transfer. And we waited. Then finally, he had to go run an errand. The lady was like, I'm going to give you your transfer and you could go.
Ty, I'm a little kid at 10 years old. King Towers is 3 blocks. That's where Adrian Autry grew up.
Right, I know.
So I'm there every day. So they have a tournament called King Towers. I'm there with the short shorts, the high socks. They have a tournament. I'm sitting down, and I don't care who playing, but there's this kid named Walter Berry that's there. And I'm just telling you, right, from that point, I've looked up to Walter, like, from that point on until now, it's this like mythical figure, because what I saw, it was like I didn't think I was gonna ever be good enough to play ball. It was that crazy by the time I saw him at 10 years old. And just to let you know, like, the names that were playing was Ed Pigney, Gary Springer,
Sheesh.
Pearl
Washington, like Richie Adams, Kenny Hutchison, like all these great players I got to see at an early age. So guys like Walt shaped my mind. So that was the first time I got wind of Walt. And then basically next time I saw him, he was at St. John.
At St. John. So going to Benjamin Franklin. What year was this? This is just junior year?
Junior year.
Okay, so your reign started in your junior year.
Junior year.
Okay,
Junior
so how was that? How did what made you become, this mythical figure? Like,
How did you get so good?
You know what? It was just planning all the tournaments. We would play 2 or 3 games a day. In a
Yeah.
tournament. We leave one tournament, get on the train, go to Queens, play, then we'll go to Brooklyn. So we was all over playing. But I realized something once I got to Benjamin Franklin my junior year, and I got my feet wet my senior year. Kenny Hutch was the star. I took over, and nobody couldn't understand it because I came back. I was averaging 30, 35 points a game, and
sheesh.
nobody couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, but I said it was God, man. It was a gift from God that gave me the talent, gave me the way, and showed me the way. It's God. It's only Him who I look forward to speaking to every morning.
So, Ty, we all know and love the great Paul Pierce. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Played with the Boston Celtics, won the championship, went to Kansas. That's great. And I love it. They started calling him the Truth. But I had issues with that nickname.
I never called him that for the record.
Because they gave it to somebody first.
Right.
And it was this guy right here.
When did you get that name?
At St. John's, believe it or not. I had a bunch of nicknames, but that one stuck for some reason. And the way how I got it, they was asking Mark Jackson, is Walter Berry really that good? Mark was like, he's the truth. The name stuck at
And
me.
that was it.
And that was it.
That's the way.
And that's like, you talk about, that's like almost a decade and a half before they gave it to the great Paul Pierce.
Right.
And no disrespect, Paul.
More than that.
No disrespect, Paul. So don't come at me on social media. I love you to death. But this is our New York City guy. That name came in the 80s.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story about Paul Pierce. I see him at 4040 Jay-Z Club, right? And Paul Pierce was like, he act like he didn't want to say nothing. And I'm like, Paul, what's up, man? He was like, he was looking, he finally shook my hand and was like, I said, the truth, right? He was like, yeah. I said, we just need to do a commercial and call it
Oh, I
peace.
love this.
And he was like, Paul Pierce was like, let's do that, Walter. Let's do that.
I love it.
It never took off, but we had a drink in 4040 and we talked a little bit. I think he was a little bit nervous around me because, my crew was
different,
was different.
It's a New York thing.
Yeah,
New York thing.
So he was looking around like, are your crew gonna do something to me? I'm like,
nah,
no,
good,
Paul,
man.
well, you good, man.
And I like the fact that he acknowledged that, at least acknowledge you, and that's something special about him.
And that's cute. I mean, I never called the guy the truth anyway. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you talking about. But going back to Benjamin Franklin. So now you dominating, average 30, 35 points. You coming into your own, realizing that you are the guy. Did you win the championship?
We won the city and state.
So you won the city and state, excuse me. So you won the city and state as a senior. As Benjamin Franklin. So during this time, obviously, you getting recruited.
Yes.
People are banging down the door. This guy, Walter Berry, he's who they said he is. How did you end up at junior college?
I'm going to explain that one too. I came to St. John's. My grades wasn't what they were supposed to be. So they was like, and I didn't even get my high school diploma. So they was like, come and get in this program, this GED program at St. John's. So I was like, I'm good with that. Let's do it. I came there. I worked hard. I got the grades I needed. The NCAA said no to it.
No.
And I was really upset. We was about to sue the NCAA, the whole nine, because I did everything they said. And finally, they was like, sit out one more year, get 24 more credits. I'll have 48 because they gave me 24 at first. So I was like, okay. Well, the only thing about that is I want to go play basketball now. I said I sat out a whole year.
Oh, yeah.
I want my skills to stay sharpened up. So they was like, we got a good junior college for you. San Jacinto Junior College.
Okay.
The great San Jack. The great San Jack.
Was that right?
That was right.
Okay.
He found that deal for me, and I'll never forget it. I got on a plane. I was so angry when I got on a plane. I said, but when I get on the court, I'm going to take it out on everybody. And I went out there. I ain't telling y'all no lie. We won the championship there too.
Yeah.
But I was MVP of everything. The final game, the final championship game, I think I averaged and this is documented. I averaged 35 a game, 15 rebounds, 5 block shots. In the championship game, we was down by half. I came in the locker room and I was like, excuse my French. I was like, whoever don't want the motherfucking ball, give it to me and get out the fucking way.
Right.
And the coach was like, y'all heard him. Give him the ball and get out of the fucking way.
So no winning it.
Yeah. So finally, second half started. I guess they understood what was going on in the second half, and we just took control of the game. I think I finished with 40 points,
In the chip.
18 rebounds.
In the chip.
And at that time too, those games, of course, they wasn't televised, but we were hearing like the legends of these things that was going on with you, like being from the city, like we were hearing about it. We couldn't see it, but your legend was definitely growing, and it definitely was in the psyche of a lot of the young players at that time.
I believe you.
We was hearing it.
And I want to just say, I had to show out that night because Coach Conaseca came to that game of finals. And in my mind, I was like, I got to put on a good show because my plans is going back to St. John's.
So you already knew you was.
I already knew I was going back.
Okay.
And we got it.
Right.
The rest is history. And, we both played for Conaseca. He always talked about you, he especially with somebody like me coming in, a big guy, just talk about how the one thing I got out of it was like, you showed up to games ready for war, ready to produce, ready to win. And that's the one thing I got out of it, which from Conaseca, because we had a lot of talks. He was trying to groom me to be like just the better version of myself. So he would always like tell stories about the legends. So your name was always coming up all the time, and Alex Evans, I know you know Alex Evans, he was there.
Shout out to Al.
Alex Evans. And we would always hear these legends about you, about just how you showed up. We didn't talk about practice, but we talked about just
I got a good story about practice.
Go ahead.
This is a Coach Conaseca story. I first get to St. John's. We have our first scrimmage game, and I think I scored in the scrimmage game like 12 points, 8 points, or something like that with 7 rebounds. Coach comes in there, him and Ruck come in there. Coach got a paper on the pad. Walter, 12 points, 7 or 8 rebounds. I said, Coach, let me explain something to you. Wait till the game start. And when the game started,
20.
he couldn't believe the difference.
So practice, he was trying to high side, and then Walt had to let him know, like, I'm about to do this. I'm about to turn it up in the games.
Right. So
That's
you was just mentally and physically getting ready for the real season.
Bingo. Getting myself ready, preparing to see what is going on, because everywhere else I dominated. So in my mind, I'm going to dominate college basketball before it's all over. But I just had to feel what was going on around me, feel my teammates. And I had great teammates that time. Chris Mullen was special, man. Mark was special.
Damn, you came into a crazy squad.
I came into it. I was the missing piece.
So what? You was coming to St. John's. There was no recruiting wars. You was coming to St.
No, I was coming
back to New York. So that's good. So you're here now. So your first year is the 84-85 season.
Correct.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into the 84-85 season, because as Johnny fans, that's what we're chasing, right? We're all of our teams. I know when I was there, Ty could probably attest to that. Even probably now,
hell yeah, we was trying to do better than them.
We're striving for that Final Four success, like back in the day. So give us a little summary about that season. Did you guys think you would get to the Final Four? Was there any conflicts with you and these other great players? Because you had like it was pros on that team. It was like 5, 6 NBA players on that team.
Almost
like 10
yeah.
pro players. So
okay, but going into that season, it was, we had to mesh quick. And that was the problem. We had to mesh real quick. And it was hard because everybody had their own personality. And the ball went to Chris Mullen for starters. He was the number one guy that was supposed to lead us. And he did a good job doing that. And all the other guys fitted in, and I fitted in where I was supposed to. And we put it all together and just got to the Final Four. And it wasn't a easy task. That was hard getting to the Final Four. And we
Absolutely.
should have won it all,
Definitely.
but we couldn't get by Georgetown. We beat them during the season and became #1 in the country. I don't know if y'all remember.
Oh, I
we
remember
know
that. I was watching.
We know that.
That was one of the biggest games of my life
Yeah.
because I got on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
And I can't even tell you how that win. Then it was more than just because Georgetown was the mighty Georgetown.
Right,
They had won the national championship a year before. Great Patrick Ewing and other players. So they were like the big juggernaut. And I just couldn't believe that it was because that's when I really got like winner St. Charles. I couldn't believe that this school of ours in this city was like at that level with these great players, with these New York City players.
Right.
That was the thing too. So, and it was just like they beat Georgetown, and it did something to me. I mean, it did something to me as far as like St. John's was in my psyche now. Remember with Virginia with Ralph Sampson? That was gone. That was gone. I was going to Virginia. I'm going to Virginia.
Yeah, you were confused, bro. Like,
I was going to Charlottesville.
just shit together.
Yeah.
I think that I was a pioneer for guys like y'all coming to
Yes.
St. John's.
Yes.
And the late great Malik Sealy,
Definitely.
he wanted my number when he came to St. John's. That touched me, because Coach Connor Second and them called me and said, Malik Sealy want to wear number 21, and if he can't get it, he's going somewhere else. I said, give him the number. It's going to make St. John's better. Let him have the number. And we shared that number till today.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a I never realized
Which goes to Kevin Garnett,
Right.
Because he's a Malik Sealy fan,
Right.
know.
Right. So now you at St. John's, you got this powerhouse. You guys losing the Final Four. What was your thinking about?
I'm going to come back and destroy everybody next year.
Right.
Because Georgetown not going to have Patrick Ewing. The Ed Pigneys are gone. And I did my thing against them too.
Right.
But I felt like it's nobody there no more. And we started off with Duke at the Garden. I destroyed Duke. First game of the season, because everybody was saying St. John's is finished. There's no more Chris Mullin. St. John's ain't going to be that good. And I had something else on my mind.
Right.
Definitely. And Johnny Nation, you could tell me 1985-86 season was one of the most until this season, one of the most anticipated basketball seasons that we've ever had. Because we in my opinion, because we come off the Final Four and everybody's thinking Walter's back, Marcus back, and we got this feeling that we're gonna win it again. We're gonna win it this time. Last year was a fluke. So it was the anticipation was
high.
Was so crazy. The expectation was so crazy that
you was ready for that, Walt?
I was ready. I worked out all summer. I came back on top of my game than I ever been in my career. That was one of the summers that I dedicated the whole summer to getting in shape, weights, swimming. I did everything.
Damn. So during that year, if you can remember, what was one of the most memorable times you had during that year? Personal best as far as game and putting in work.
85-86.
85-86. That was when Chris was there or when
Chris left. Yeah.
This was you. This
Chris
was
and Bill had left.
The Duke game.
Oh, the first game.
game of the season. That was, I set a tone and I set a pace. The first game. And it just took me all the way to the next level.
And it was great. To watch that season, man. I mean, you
remember that? You was watching?
It was every available game that I could watch St. John's that year. That I'm telling you, that was the fabric.
So you stopped watching Virginia finals?
Yes.
All right, just making sure.
Yes, for sure. They was out the picture.
Okay.
I was not going to Charlottesville after that for sure.
Okay. Okay. So how did that season end?
We lost to Auburn in a final 16.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, I think it was somewhere around there with
Chuck Person.
With Chuck Person.
Rifleman.
He shot the lights out of it that night. And I was having ankle problems at that time. I don't know if y'all remember.
I don't remember that.
I was pretty hurt. So I played hurt that game. I don't know if y'all really remember that.
Nah.
But, he had...
Take your word for it.
Yeah, he had a great...
You usually tell the truth anyway.
The truth, my man. The truth.
But it was just an outstanding run at St. John's. And if I had to do it all over again, to be honest, guys, I would have stayed my last year.
Was this the season with the block for the Big East championship?
Yes.
So Walter Berry has the big block for the Big East Championship, by the way.
Oh, so y'all won the Big East championship that year?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. See,
It was Stars and
y'all
Stripes.
educated me. You know, I'm still a little bit young.
I knew right where Pearl Washington was
Was
going. I knew because me and him was like good friends. We hung out. We did a lot together, you know. So we got a chance to know each other.
Nightlife too, huh?
Nightlife.
Absolutely.
God bless the Pearl Washington and the late great Pearl. He was great. He was a good person
R.P.
on
Pearl.
top of it.
Walt, the accolades just for your St. John's career was ridiculous. Everybody, we're still chasing. Everybody, a player, the teams, we're still chasing that time. I mean, it's nothing I could tell you. So the draft is coming upon. Or did you have one more year? That was the year you left.
That was the year I left before. And, I just want to say this about St. John's. They doing well. Last year at March Madness, I came, I supported.
Yeah. I remember.
there.
Yeah. We saw each other. We was hanging out.
I really thought they was going to get back to the Final Four because they showed greatness. And, but I believe this year they're going to do some wonderful things as well.
I like that. It was like stepping into a time warp last year. I ain't gonna lie.
Yes.
Just the way I felt. And I mean, I think this podcast that we're doing now is like a birth of that energy.
Yeah.
It's just genuine though. It's not like fabricated.
Mhm.
But I just think, it put us, me and this guy going to games, it just put us like in a different energy.
Mhm.
Just the expectation of what we want and the relevancy of everything.
And Rick Pitino is doing a hell of a job with this team. You can't take nothing away
Right.
from him, man, because he brought them back to the NCAA tournament in a long time.
The fun times.
One time.
And the expectations to do something special.
Yeah, we expect. Look the Johnny Nation. Johnny Nation only on this trip because we go win the championship. That's why they on the trip. So now, season's over.
Mhm.
You got to rest your ankle.
Mhm.
NBA. What were you forecasting about yourself leading into the NBA draft?
I really wasn't intended to go, to be honest with y'all, but I get people coming at me saying, you got to leave on your best year because if you come back and don't have a great year, you got some problems. Because I even talked with John Thompson about this. This is a funny story. I said, Coach Thompson, I got 2 and 3 guys guard me mostly every night. He was like, if you come back, I'm going to have 3 on you. So I was like, maybe it's time for me to pack it up and go.
That's unbelievable.
So where were you thinking that maybe you would get drafted? Or did you end up where you wanted to?
Of course not.
Right.
Portland took me at 14th pick, and I thought the Knicks would take me at the number 5 pick, and everybody was screaming, yelling at the Garden. But I heard I wasn't going to go to the Knicks. So I opted out not to go to the draft. So they called my name during the draft.
It was in the Garden? The draft was in the Garden?
Yeah, it was, where they have the draft at.
Right.
Wherever they had it at that year.
Felt Forum, probably the Felt Forum.
Somewhere.
Forum.
You ain't go,
But
so
I didn't go.
you don't know, I don't know.
I was watching
had my suit ready, the whole 9, and when they say you ain't going number 5 pick, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to the draft. I can't sit there and be humiliated after what I did in college.
Right.
Definitely.
So and that's the wrong way. I'm mature enough I was only 20 then. So I'm mature enough to understand that I was supposed to go and take it like a man and go sit there.
Show face. Right.
Yes.
I wish I could have switched places with you because I went second round to Portland. it didn't go well for me at my first try, but
yeah.
What can you say?
But it was a learning experience, and I didn't know nothing about NBA. I didn't do my research. I was just enjoying college at the moment.
Right.
So Walt, I remember this time, right? So just to get off a little bit off topic, the fashion. Where did that fashion bug spark? Because I mean, we got a long history, 30 years.
It started with somebody called Dapper Dan's, and this is one of his original Louis Vuitton blazer that he made for me. And
how old is that blazer?
This jacket is like 30-something years old.
Look good.
How old? How much does that blazer cost?
I was gonna get to that. How much you pay for that blazer, brother?
I think Dap gave me this blazer only because he wanted to get his stuff out there.
Absolutely.
So he was giving me a lot of stuff to wear, to keep. just so he could get his name out there with the fashion.
So he introduced you to this whole new fashion,
Yes.
becoming a fashion icon.
Yes.
Because when I first started to see you, I always took notice of your fashion.
Yo, actually, what he was wearing before. Actually, what he was wearing before he met Dapper Dan. I couldn't believe it. He was.
I was doing normal stuff, bubble coats.
Nah.
Yeah, like the regular stuff, pea coats. You know what everybody else was wearing.
Right.
Because I didn't have the money to do the things that I did later on.
True.
And I was North Face. I was wearing all that stuff. But it was one coat I told Nell about that I had that was just fly. It was called a quarter fill.
Mhm.
I don't know if y'all ever heard of the quarter
Nah,
fill.
that's before
But
me.
it was a coat with fur on it. And it was
Real fur?
Yeah, real fur. And it was sharp, man. It was, and I wore that quarter fill, and I remember they was like, they taking guys' coats in the neighborhood, like when you go to school. So I was like, you know what? I ain't wearing this no more. I kept it in the closet and never wore it.
That's great. Yo, what? So you never had a starter jacket when you was?
I've never had a starter jacket.
All right. They were just too expensive. So the quarter fill, we got to find that. We got to find that look.
The
that
quarter fill.
Yeah. I got to see what he talking about.
You think you got any pictures with it? At that quarter fill?
Nah. Damn. What was the place everybody, the Lancey Street, everybody was going to the Lancey Street to get the North Face, the all that. We used to go there and get the old clothes as well.
Mhm.
But that was the thing back in those days. But
Right.
that's when I first decided to wear that quarter fill. It was just like something clean. And that's when my fashion kind of first started.
Okay.
To answer your question.
Okay.
And then
Is this during your rookie season in NBA or?
no, this is high school.
Oh, this is, so you already
High
was
school
on this.
translating to college.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the time.
So
So you came on campus.
He was dipping St. John. Yeah.
It's fly.
A
was
little
dipping.
something fly with the Louis stuff, the
Right.
Gucci stuff.
Right.
I was wearing all that stuff back in those days before all the rappers, before all of the performers,
Mhm.
you know, the actors. But Dap started me out wearing it at the time.
The great Dapper Dan, legendary. Do we call him like urban fashion, or do we just a fashion icon?
He's a fashion.
He's a fashion icon.
Yeah.
The great Dapper Dan.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell y'all, I took it to the next level after that
Uh-huh.
because after I left the NBA, I met the great Johnny Versace.
Oh,
Let
we
me
gonna get
let me get into
Hold
that.
on, we're gonna get into that.
Because I got
Yo,
some
we
rumor
gonna-
stories I gotta clear up.
So
Let's-
before we go international, real quick, Ty,
Right. Before we do that,
my man Walt, he was at, I think, Dapper Dan's store, and the internet happened. I don't know if he was too young. Mike Tyson had a run-in with Mitch Blood Green,
Yeah.
and the story, not the story, the real, he had a black eye afterwards.
Right.
Nobody saw it. It wasn't filmed.
Right.
So you was there.
I was there.
So did you see how that started?
Okay.
So you was there when Mike beat Mitch Blood
Yeah,
Green?
I got pictures in my phone on that too. now I'm gonna tell y'all how this whole thing started. It was weird because we was in Dapper Dan. Mike was waiting for a jacket that says "Don't believe the hype." So we sitting there waiting for it to get finished making.
Mhm.
And we was talking about Mitch Green. We was like, Mike was like, that's the only guy I never beat. You know, was Mitch Green. I beat him in a ring, but I couldn't knock him out early. You know, he was knocking dudes out in 2 minutes, a minute. So he was like, that's the only guy that really took me to the distance. We looking up in a doorway. Mitch Green was standing in the doorway. At this point, I'm looking for something to hit him with. Dap had one of them old big phones, so I unplugged it and rolled the wire up. And at this time, I thought Mitch was coming for me because I was dating his girlfriend. And he had already said, if I catch the dude you dating, I'm going to murder him.
Oh, so you was already ready for war.
Yeah, because I thought he was coming for me.
Right.
You know? And this girl, Peaches, he was dating was beautiful. And
Shout out to Peaches. It's a hell of a name. That's a hell of a name.
Especially because
It's a hell of a name.
and
I gotta be bad, boy.
I'm thinking he coming for me. So we still sitting there. He walks in and started going frisking Mike Tyson pockets. And the guy that was driving the car for Mike name was Tom. We called him Buford. Buford was like, oh shit, he trying to go in Mike pockets. It's like a bulb lit off in Mike's head when he said that. Mike was like, knocked his hands off and was like, we could take this outside. And Mitch was like, yeah, let's take this outside. They get up, they square up. Mike hit him 2 or 3 times. I'll never forget it. He didn't get back up for a while. So Mike was like, at the time, like, come on, let's go. I had my car parked out because I met them there. My car was parked out there too. So he was like, come on, just jump in. He had the convertible Rolls Royce. He said, jump in the car, let's just go. So we got in the car and was about to take off. Mitch Green gets up. I swear to God, Mitch Green gets up and knocked the mirror off the car. Mike was like, Tom, pull back over. He hit him one more time, lights out. Lights out. He hit him.
Dropped him twice.
Yeah, but the second time he never got back up. All you hear was ambulance.
Todd, by the way, this was all over the news. This is on every news channel.
I remember.
I'm a little kid looking at it. Oh man, like it's crazy.
But listen to this. That last punch, he broke his hand. He had a fight coming up. He broke his hand. We had to take him to Lenox Hill Hospital, and he had to get a soft cast on his hand. And we sitting there. And it was just, he was like, because in the car, he was like, something wrong with my hand. I think I broke my hand. I said, you think? How hard you hit Miss Green, you think? And he was like, yeah, take me to Lenox Hill. We took him right to the hospital. He came out with a cast on. Then we took him home.
Damn, that's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Damn, well, I mean, these stories like this is dope because I know Mike Tyson, meaning like, he spent a lot of time in my neighborhood in Brooklyn. But knowing the association with you, and I never knew there was an association with you.
We had a friendship because of Tom, not even because of Tom. Let me tell you how I met Mike. I was at the Red Parrot.
Hey.
I know what the Red Parrot is. I was at the Red Parrot.
Grown-ups only.
Hey.
I was at the Red Parrot one night, and Mike walked up on me. I was clean that night. I'll never forget it. I was at St. John's. I had on Dapper Dan stuff that night, and I was playing at St. John's. He was like, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I thought he was going to rob me, to be honest with you. And he was like, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He was like, "Yo, I box, and I'm going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world."
Oh, wow.
So I was like,
that's early.
Yeah. So I was like, yo, keep the faith, man. If God has got it in his will, you're going to do what you set out to do. And the next thing I knew, I swear to God, my senior year at Ben Franklin, him and Tom came riding to my mother's house with a Rolls Royce, convertible Rolls Royce, and they called me and was like, look out the window. And my mother saw Mike Tyson, was like, that's that boy Mike Tyson, because he had blew up by then.
Right.
And she was like, have him come up for an autograph. I was like, just go down and get an autograph. And I think my mother went down, and then I jumped in a car with them, and we went somewhere to do something.
Crazy, yo.
That's the story.
Yo, listen, all I'm thinking about was that nightlife with y'all three.
We ain't even gonna talk about nightlife.
All I'm thinking, I thought my story was. I thought my story.
No, I ain't even give you the real thing.
Right. We gonna get
the
there.
Nightlife.
We gonna get there. Let's get back to sports.
So,
okay.
Don't go international yet. Hold on.
Right. I was gonna stay with
one last thing. I got to know Walt. The reason why I got to know him, and it's been like this for all these years, is because all the old players used to come back and play with us.
St. John's, yeah.
So you could think about all the greats, the Bill Windersons, the Walter Berrys, the Mark Jacksons, the Jason Williams, everybody, Chris Mullins, everybody came back.
Normal.
To play in the fall. And my freshman year, I meet Walter Berry for the first time, like officially. Great, nice guy, humble to me, accepting to me, until we started playing.
Right.
And it was the most miserable first couple of weeks I can ever imagine, because I couldn't guard him. He would spin, hook, in pivot. He was like giving me everything. And then he would smile at me going down the court. And he would be like, yo, now, we didn't even know each other yet. Yo, now, you know you can't guard. It was like, and this was every day. This was every single day. So that's my first encounter with Walt.
On the court.
On the court. And it just became like, just the nightlife and seeing him. He was just so accepting to me just as a young player. And it gave me a lot of motivation, to tell you the truth.
Right. He bust your ass. Just say what it is. He bust your ass.
He bust
and it motivated you. I get it.
Bust my ass and motivated.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
that's fair.
It was one of the best, and like I used to come back with you guys, like it was a thing. So hopefully we get that going again. I don't know who's available to play though, because these young kids, I don't know if we could play with them. I'm talking to my man Talik Brown, assistant coach, St. John's University. But yeah.
No, but again, we gonna Walt, and I'm speaking about you like you're not here. All I know, my first time, again, I'm seeing you at St. John's. I'm on the campus. You came down. You had the drop top, whatever. But on the court, I can remember that there was games going on, and you had Knicks. And I remember you came and dropped your Louis Vuitton bag and just went on court, but you never said I had Knicks. But you played.
Somebody
So,
had to.
somebody wasn't playing. Then you were just dribbling the ball and you was shooting. And all I know, like it was like 5 people on the court. Then it was like 3. Then it was like 4. And then the game started. So I was like, all right,
Yo,
I gotta have the campus like
yo,
this one day.
When E. Barkley said, "Walk like he used to float like or the Spike Lee."
No, well, I'm gonna be honest with you because we older now, and I can, and just in retrospect, a lot of things like me as I'm younger than y'all, but me seeing you guys come on campus, like you had a huge impact on all like my generation because we didn't really know you that well because again it wasn't like social media, but like you had like NBA All Stars talking about you when we used to be in the gym. Like if you ain't come to the auxiliary gym, they told yo Walt coming. I was like, yo, son, who's this guy? Like what the fuck is y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? So you had like this crazy we had a crazy feeling about you every time you was around. But what put the icing on the cake was that when we went out and you took us out. This was for me, again, I was all fucked up back then, but for me, the impact you had on me during the nightlife and walking in the club, that's why I messed
Because he was humble, but
right.
but he
That's
was
why I messed
humble
up.
and he was acting like he didn't
Nah, but
act
the
like
fashion,
Yeah.
when you walk in the club, right? When you walk, so my old heads was Lloyd Daniels and Walter Berry, right? So this is like yin and yang, right? I got a reckless one that's walking and making mad noise, and then I got Walter Berry, who's cool, calm, and everybody's running to him,
a fashion icon.
and I'm like, and a fashion icon with his man purse before men purse. Yo, he pioneered the man purse. Hey, yo, Talik, Walt was the first with the man purse. I'm lying?
But it was probably like $5,000. Who knows? Or he had that much in it.
Yeah, but all I remember was that when we used to go, St. John's guys used to go out and used to be out. You always used to say, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." Real calm.
Yeah, I had it. Yeah, I wasn't gonna let y'all pay for nothing.
Real calm. Don't worry about it. I was 7 people. Don't worry about it. You all right? You gonna be in the gym tomorrow? All right. Don't worry about it. All right. So that was like my upbringing. Again, this is now twin Carrots. Now you know why I'm the way I am, right? These guys dictated my life a little bit too early, right? But you also made a huge impression on me about overseas, right? So jumping, you had your NBA career and you decided to go overseas. The story was that a team in Europe was going to pay you twice as much as the NBA team. Is that the story?
I'm gonna tell you the real story.
Okay.
I told it to Nell early. We talked a little bit about it. I'm home one day, sleep in the summertime. I'm having contract problems with Houston Rockets. That was my last NBA team. And Coach Conaseca, Ron Brothers, called me to the office one morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, was like, you got to get down here. I'm half asleep. I'm like, yo, this better be good,
Right.
Because I'm already angry because I'm having contract problems. I can't get the money I want to go play for Houston. They wanted to give me the same money that I played the first 3 or 4 years that I played. So finally, coaching them was like, Ron Rutledge said, well, I think you better get up here for this one. So I'm like, I gotta get up and go. Get dressed, get up there, and I see these people from Spain there, and they had, believe it or not, $500,000 in a suitcase. And he said, Walter, we're gonna pay you $1.2 million. This is
that's
partial payment. If you sign with us, you can take the $500,000 now. So I got up. They thought I was leaving. I got up and was like, where do I sign at? I said, where do I sign at? Because I got to forego with the NBA. And They gave me the other 700,000 with bonuses. I think I made another $1 million with all the bonuses while I was there. Because
What team was that?
Atletico Madrid.
Oh, you was in Madrid.
Atletico Madrid.
Atletico.
And by the way, Rutledge made sure he let us know. He let me know immediately what was going on because he wanted to like get me more motivated to see what was the possibilities out there. He was basically telling me, "Yo, get your ish together,
Right,
young fella." Because
right.
this was you see what Walter's doing,
Right.
So
they were like, "We got 300,000 for another player. You know anybody?" I said, "Take Shelton Jones." I said, "He ain't got a job. He was doing something trying to get on Philly at the time." I said, "Shelton, take that 300 and come on, let's go." And he finally took it, and we went on to Spain.
Did y'all thing?
We did our thing out there.
Was Atletico? Did that turn into Estudiantes?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because I played with.
But they was the biggest team in Spain at that time.
No, we wasn't.
They got Madrid. They got Real Madrid. That's how I know he.
The big.
So then I think Atletico turned into Estudiantes.
Baby, but Real Madrid was the top.
Right,
team.
Of course.
And the one of the I don't know if it was the coach, but the father Sergio Luke, who also was my college teammate for 4 years at St. John's. Was he there when you was there, Sergio?
No.
Well, Sergio's father was like the GM or the coach of Atletico Madrid, right? I think,
yes, Luke, yes.
Luke, yep.
You're right.
So you took that money, and that was the beginning of the Walter Berry legend in Europe.
Yes.
So you went to Spain. Where was your next destination?
Italy.
So you went to Italy. What part of Italy you was at?
Milan.
Right.
So
Milano.
King of Naples.
Oh, you know what? You was right. It was Naples after that. It was Naples after that.
You was there during the time of Maradona?
Yes. And I met him in the airport.
They called him the king.
Get out of here.
He was the king.
He was the king.
He was the king.
Diego Maradona is
he was the king of Naples.
They changed their colors because of him.
He was the king of Naples.
Blue and white.
That dude, when I got down there, I met him in the airport. He couldn't speak no English.
Right.
He had a translator.
And this tall.
This tall. And he invited to one of his parties. I go to one of his parties. And I'm like, I couldn't believe some of the things I saw. Every kind of drug you wanted was there. Everything. And I was like,
Diego Maradona.
I was like, y'all can have the drugs, just give me the women. You know?
Right.
And had a good time at his party, partied with him, and we became friends after that. And later on in time,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Well, you know what's crazy though? Because Todd just talked about how you inspired him as far as like internationally, like going overseas, right?
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like I'm older than him, and I played over there, but I was unenthused until he got me to be enthused about playing overseas. Like, because I was
but one of the biggest difference between me and you was I was paper chasing because of people like Walt and Conrad McRae, right? I know you wanted to live your dream, but I wanted the money. Like I needed to see the paper. So Walt and Conrad McRae, seeing them and how they were living, and they was talking to us about it. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, this ain't really that bad, right? So again, the dream was playing NBA for 300 years, right? But if they ain't give you $300,000, I'm not playing nowhere.
Nowhere.
And I played a whole year prior to playing with him. So me and Todd playing the same.
We played together.
I was still in my rut. We had dinner one day. They had the fresh. I forgot we was in Naples. I think
we was in Naples.
Y'all played in Naples?
No.
We
was
played them.
We was there visiting, but we was eating.
Okay.
Fresh. So I'm like, I ain't eating this. And Todd looked at me. Looked me up and down. He said, "Yo, my man." You ain't gonna be here with all this great food, and you ain't gonna try to eat this food. Like he was like yelling at me, like but in a.
But I thought Naples had good food.
They have great food.
This is my point. This is my point.
So I was stuck on my ways, and
he was American, man.
I ate. I was like, you know what? And now it's a wrap now.
Yeah.
I love the whole culture, the food.
So Walt, again, this is stories coming from me. Personal stories, and I don't even know if you really remember, but do you remember your last year playing in Italy? Your last year playing was in Italy, right?
Yes.
Right. Do you remember playing against me?
Yes.
That was my first year.
I remember that.
All right. Oh, okay. That was my first year.
Yeah, I remember
right?
that.
I was in Livorno and you was one of them
the team in Milan.
Right. That's my first year.
Wow.
This is my first year in Italy. I played against Walt.
I remember that.
And I remember what I do remember was that the whole week, so the week before, I had a big game, right? And you know how the media is over there, right? But leading up to this game, they didn't say shit to me all week. The whole week was dedicated to Walter Berry. Hey, yo, Talik, I was miserable. Like, yo, son, that's my old head. He man old like that. This is a true story. I don't lie. We played Walt. The coach was doing the scouting report. And I'm like, nah, Walt ain't the same Walt that averaged like 30. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. It's two people bust my ass. Walt bust my ass, right? But here's a beautiful part about it. I don't even know if you remember this. After the game, you gave me a slap on my ass, and you said, "Keep working, young fella. You gonna get this money over here." It's a true story. Yep. And then you left. You retired after the game, right?
I think I was like 36, 35.
Yeah, I
36.
think you. No, I'm saying you
Yeah,
literally
that was
stopped
at the
playing
end.
because
That
the
was
team was looking for you because you left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It was all over the news. Like,
I
Walt Perry.
retired.
Yep.
Yeah, I retired.
Played his last game against me and then retired. That's some
I
bullshit.
retired. Yes. I was about 35, 36.
Yeah, I
at the
remember.
time.
I remember.
I said it was this time for me to go. You know, it was this one of those times.
So, well, you devastated worlds for your last couple of years, decade or so, and overseas, right? And then you look back, these accolades start coming. So first, St. John's University Sports Hall of Famer, Basketball Hall of Famer, right? Greece.
Don't forget about junior.
Oh yeah. So what's the junior college? Junior college.
San Jose.
San Jack.
San Jack Hall of Famer, right? St. John's Hall of Famer, Greece Hall of Famer, right? All these different accolades. So I mean, how do you feel like, when you look back and just see like what you accomplished in the basketball world? Do you like?
I look back and I say, I can't believe all the things that I did well this way, because you older now and you look at some of these films, videos, and you like, that was me?
Right.
Like, I couldn't believe it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't jump over a Sunday newspaper. So I'm like, I can't believe I used to jump that high. I can't believe I used to create these shots that I did playing. It's just like, and I get reminded all the time from people that I see, and it's like amazing to me.
Well, we here to remind you, because we could do this all day, right? Because I can literally tell you of our experiences, being at St. John's, for example, and we already spoke about basketball. Let's talk. We went to the nightlife, right?
Mhm.
Just experiencing your presence during the nightlife with the finest of the fine. And then you seeing us, like, it was nothing. It didn't matter who you was talking to, whatever celebrity.
Mhm.
Like, you would see us and literally like say something. Y'all good? Yo, and with your nice low monotone voice. Hey, yo, y'all good, baby? Everything good? Don't worry about it. And that, like, again, these were lessons. It might have not been the best lessons at the time, but these were lessons that were passed down to people like me who were affected by your fashion and your swag, where that when you used to say stuff to me, like, I do that now to younger people. You know what I'm saying? So, just reflecting on seeing you out, as Malik Sealy party, for example, like, it was a Walter Berry moment in there for all of us. And like, we'll come back and talk about it. We'll come back and talk about working out. Yo, you saw Walt? You saw what Walt had on? You saw what Walt shoes had on? You know what I'm saying? So even going back to Europe, I know that had even a major impact on your fashion, because here's a story. So when I played in Milan, 30 minutes from Milan was where they used to make the Prada shoes. So I used to go there and get Prada shoes made. And the first thing the guy asked me was, do you know this guy named Walter Berry? I made his first Gucci shoe. Word. Real story.
He's telling the truth.
Right. This is a real story. So I remember the impact you had over there, probably even the same as over here, because I played over there for a long time too. So everything revolved around Walt in Europe. You just was with me for 2 years losing your mind, but that's a whole nother story overseas. I played with him for 2 years overseas.
I know.
Yeah. Lost his mind.
It's a great experience.
I mean,
Didn't sleep.
Right now.
Hey, yo, Talik, he didn't sleep. He didn't sleep, baby. But yeah, so again, we're here. Obviously, we're saluting you and giving you your so-called flowers, as Nell would say. But let's get back to this Versace conversation. How did you meet Versace, and how did that relationship evolve?
We got a big game in Milan, and all I remember was the teammates came in the locker room and was like, guess who came out to see you play tonight? I'm like, who? They was like, Versace. And I'm like, the guy with all them beautiful shirts that make them beautiful shirts? Yeah, that's him. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, I know I got to put on the show tonight because I'm going to try to go buy me some stuff from his shop because, I'm in the fashion. I like the nice
You're in the fashion
Versace
capital.
shirts. I got all colors, all flavors, thanks to him. But anyway, after the game,
You still got them?
Oh, I still got my stuff. I still got my them shirts are made to the point where 30, 40 years later, they still
What is
beautiful.
it, the material?
Yeah.
It's the material.
It's the
Yeah.
And it's handmade.
My shirts.
Handmade.
And let me just get to what happened.
Mhm.
So he came back to the locker room and he had a crew of people with him. And he was like, he started talking, but he don't speak no English.
Right.
So finally they translated. They said he wants you to come out to the club with him tonight.
Was it Hollywood?
It might have been Hollywood. It might have been Hollywood. It might have been, yes. So he took me to Hollywood. I go with Versace, and he was, no, leave your car there. They had something crazy limo. It was crazy what he had down there. But we all got in this car. It was like 7 or 8 of us, and we go to the club. So he was like, "What you drinking?" I'm like, "I like champagne." He whispered to the guy. The next thing I know, 10 bottles of Cristal came out. And I'm like, oh my God, Cristal.
Right.
I'm used to the Dom Perignon,
Right.
Moet.
Right.
He had Cristal. He told the guy he gets the best, but he said it in Italian.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I tried to drink much of that as I could. I couldn't even walk when I left out. I left out of there, but they took me home in the little limo they had.
Oh my God.
And from then on, the next day, he was like, I want you to come to my shop. I go to his shop. Soon as I walk in, they start walking up on me with tape measures.
There you go.
Yeah, that's Versace.
Yep.
And he was like, I got you 20 shirts made, And I said, how much I owe you? He like, no money. These are free. And he gave me the shirts for free, man. And
I love that culture over there.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was a nice
They
thing,
love you,
man.
they love you,
Yeah, when they love you, they love you. That's it. And every now and then he would get in touch with me with a little, his translator, and I'll meet them out at clubs and stuff like that and just have some drinks. He was always with his boyfriend. And everybody used to, when I came back to New York, everybody was like, ain't he like gay? You be hanging out with him? I said, well, he got a boyfriend and he sticks with his boyfriend and that's it.
Right.
He never tried none. He just liked me because of what I did on the court.
Right.
When he came that night, I think I got about 45, 50 that night.
Pause.
Yeah. When they told me he was there, I was like, I'm gonna raise this up tonight.
Man, that's a dream, man. I'll be sleeping, dreaming like that's crazy, man.
Now, Walton them set the tone because years later they ended up having Giorgio Armani who owned Milan when I played.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the fashion part, you guys already kind of.
And they had all the shops there. You go to the shops like we went to Prada. They had all the shops there. We could just go to the shop and get it dirt cheap back in those days.
It was different.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was different.
Maury, remember the Maury Gators?
Damn.
You ain't never been to the Maury store?
Yeah, but that was before it even came here. They didn't know what that was.
Yeah, they
know. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know I used to wear Prada shoes and then they used to call me, they used to say I was wearing bowling shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you look at them, look like bowling shoes. They used to make fun of me. I remember all of this.
The Maury Gators, boy.
Yeah, they didn't know what that was.
Well,
they have it on the cover of the magazine. And I was like, I want what's on the cover of the magazine. But go ahead.
No, so I want to ask because you basically you grew up in the golden era of hip hop from the Bronx. What was the hip hop influence on you? Like who are the artists that you looked at?
It was the Tupac, it was the Biggie, it was the Jay-Z's, it was all of them. And I caught them young.
Definitely.
And I met all of these guys young. I went to the tunnel one night and Biggie and all of them was in there. It was a shootout in there. I left. I never went back to the tunnel no more after that.
Yeah, the tunnel was wild.
The tunnel was wild.
Let's talk about when you used to walk into Cheetahs. Let's talk about the real club.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about your presence in Cheetahs.
Cheetahs was off the chain. Needles was
Yo,
on the chain.
when Walt pulled up,
It was different. It was different.
it got crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It was different. I mean, again, you were there, right? Like this was your world.
Hmm.
But I don't think you realize how it affected me
Hmm.
to see that. You know what I'm saying? And then you acknowledging us. Again, I'm 17, 18, and the big dog is like stopping everything to be like, yo, you good? You all right? What you need? What are we? Me and another guy, you probably are Mike Minifield,
Yep.
right?
That's
But
my
me and him used to be together. We used to be like, yo, where Walt and them go be at? But even um what's the spot in Harlem? Oh man.
Perks.
123rd in Manhattan. That was
Son.
123rd in Manhattan, right?
Hey yo, this was life-changing experiences for young athletes, man. It was
Live.
terrible, but it was great.
Even live,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
We were fortunate, man. We were definitely fortunate. This New York thing, growing up here and getting our growing our bones here, it's like nothing else,
Yes.
No, I mean, listen, Walt. At the end of the day, right? Again, these are lifelong experiences. You're still here. You're still Walter Berry. We still go celebrate you. St. John's and their community will continuously celebrate you. And having this podcast, we've been talking about having you on the podcast probably from day 2. Right, day 1 was to figure out if we wanted to do the fucking podcast, but from day 2, we were like, we got to get Walt. And this is a big moment for me personally. Again, I'm just expressing to you what I experienced personally, knowing Walter Berry. But for the viewers, for St. John's, the Johnny Nation, for Shawnelle, like this is a big deal for us, man.
Definitely.
So we really, really appreciate you being here. Because we could celebrate. Well, we gonna celebrate after this anyway. We outside. But just everything about Walter Berry being here is like a game changer for this podcast, and we appreciate you.
Definitely. And before you go, like we want to talk. I just want to talk to you a little bit about this present team. You could go back a little bit to last year. What was the feeling like seeing like all the just excitement over this team, like St. John's?
Last
Like
year,
it's being back.
it was exciting last year, being at the Garden and coming down there and at the time I was working with Sweps at the time, the soda company, and they had me there working with March Madness, the whole 9 at Madison Square Garden. That was like introducing me back into basketball again because I sat out so long on the sideline and haven't done anything. But coming back with Sweps, they brung me back into it, and it was like, why did I stay away so long? Because this is the game that I enjoy.
Definitely.
And then seeing all you guys at Madison Square Garden, that made my time even easier. It brought back all the old time memories, seeing you there at the Garden. And it was like, wow, these guys got me back into basketball.
And look what we're doing now.
Look what we're doing now.
First of all, what do you think about us doing this?
I think this podcast y'all doing is a great thing. And what I even like about y'all doing this even better, y'all St. John's alumni. And it was easy when you called me to say, I'm there. It was easy for me to say that. I
love it.
Because you don't do nothing, man.
Nah, I'd be
nowhere.
People be asking, what's up? What happened to Walter Berry? We don't see him nowhere.
Yeah, I'd be taking it easy.
Right.
As you should. My time, and and it's better times ahead of me that I'm trying to will myself back into basketball. And if it's just going to be the Garden once a year to come see you guys and see St. John's play, get a chance to talk and say some good things to Rick Pitino because, he has embraced this situation well. So kudos to him.
Yeah, man. I mean, Walt, man.
Absolutely.
I hope you never forget, you are a very, very extremely important figure in the St. John's law, but in New York City law, New York State law, but just in basketball law.
Yeah.
For the people to see you, I'm so happy for the people that they're gonna get to see you, like to tell like a little part of your story that they would never have been able to, and I'm glad me and Ty and Rube and our crew just able to like give this to the people because I think it's so important.
They've been asking.
And all this stuff is true, what I'm saying, because I am going to write my book on my life story.
Love it.
You heard it here first, Eric. You heard it here
All the
first.
stuff that I talked about here, y'all going to see in the book.
With a little bit more, right? A little bit.
Oh, yeah, you can't tell tell so much in an hour and a half.
Right. No. We want you back when you.
Yeah.
We want to be here when you drop the book. We want you here.
Yo, me and Walt was telling a story. I didn't even realize he was mad at me for a few, but we ain't gonna
No, we ain't talking about that. No, we ain't gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Nah.
leave that one.
Nah,
We'll
fuck.
talk about that later on tonight.
I'm like, damn, man, like, we go way back.
No,
That's
we
the
go back.
crazy part.
Shawnelle used to be at my house in Saddle River, swimming in the pool. Then I used to have a lot of
Yep.
girls there.
Yeah,
Shawnelle used to be in the pool with the girls parlaying.
Well, ish. We don't get nobody in trouble. But no, I got to go. See, he invited me to his crib. I go out to his crib. I'm like, oh,
This is how.
yeah, like, cause that was I was like, oh man, it was like a hotel, man. It was huge. I mean, he's building a house right now. It's smaller than the one he had in Jersey.
Damn.
So I was like, yo. I mean, when I say Olympic size pool, Ty, not regular, Olympic, big jacuzzi.
Good times, man. Nah, but I mean, Walt, man, it's the good times never gonna stop. They actually gonna continue tonight, right?
I'm not going.
They're gonna continue tonight, but like, you know, we're looking forward to this book that you write.
Yep.
Hearing more of some of these stories as the podcast continues to grow. Because we gonna be around. We gonna literally do this podcast until you drop your book.
Word.
I hope y'all do this podcast till I'm 80 or 90.
That's even better.
I've been giving Rube a time, and Rube think is going to go past what I thought. So that's a good thing.
Y'all
That's a good
should
sign.
make this happen because y'all doing a wonderful job. And
Thank
I've
you,
been checking out. I've been going on there watching some of the interviews. I've been watching y'all.
I love it.
Y'all
love
St. John's alumni. I got to keep up with you guys, man.
Love it.
You know?
Walter Berry, baby.
Great Walter Berry. I want to give a shout out to Starter, our new partnership. It's been fantastic. Thank you for having us down here to get the great Walter Berry. Thanks to my co-host, Fly Ty. I didn't know if he was going to get in on time, but he's here like always.
Time, baby.
He's here like always. Our executive producer, Ruben Rivera, for the vision, the creative. Our director, Patch Timothy Smith, who's always on point with the visuals. Eric Newman in LA. We are here, the Storm NYC. Thank you, St. John's
Thank you to the
University.
Dilfrey, what's up,
Being
baby?
so
I
supportive.
see you.
My man John Diffley's in the building. My man Karis. My man Ron is here. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Nikki V.
Please give us some support. And Nikki V, definitely. Nick Vendico, Ed Cole, thank you so much for all the support. There's nothing more that I could say. The Storm NYC. Please watch us on YouTube. Subscribe. Please subscribe. We on all platforms. The Storm NYC, the great Walter Berry, everybody.
Walter Berry, baby.